Eddie Herdemian. I'm on the product team here at VenueNext, and I focus on our mobile ordering consumer products, which encompasses our OrderNext web product, as well as our VenueNext mobile ordering SDK, as well as our Data Now reporting tool. Today, I'm going to take you through our loyalty components of mobile ordering. And there's essentially two main levers or components of loyalty that we have in our products. The first is virtual currency, which is essentially virtual currency money that can be spent for mobile ordering, both in the app, in the web, as well as at the point of sale, which we'll show how that's done. And there's different ways that fans can earn this virtual currency, which we'll step through. And then the second component of loyalty is around discounts and exclusivity. So how do we leverage different fan affiliations or segments to offer them different levels of discount and different marketplace fan experiences, exclusivity. And we'll go through all of that. We will be starting with virtual currency, and I will do a screen share right now. So on the right here is my phone, and then on the left is the point of sale, which we'll use for how to show you how to pay with virtual currency at a point of sale. This is obviously just in the browser, so it doesn't render nicely like it does when on the actual devices. But the first step for a fan to access their virtual currency is to sign into our products. And like I mentioned, there's two. First is web, and in the web we support a phone number sign in, so someone can just enter in their phone number, and then they'll receive a code that they type in to confirm, and then that they could be signed in that way. We also support Ticketmaster web sign in, as well as Access ticketing web sign in. And those are the three different sign in methods that we support on the web. And we leverage either the phone number, the Ticketmaster, or Access account ID as the account ID for that signed in user. In our SDK, we support those three, plus any other type of sign-in authentication that the app provider wants to build in. So we also support the SeatGeek SDK. If there was some other type of authentication method that the integrator wants to put in their app, as long as they pass us an account ID to the SDK, that can be used to create the user's account, and they can start earning and be awarded virtual currency. As far as setting this up goes to enable virtual currency, the main thing that VenueNext needs to know is what you want to call the virtual currency. A lot of teams brand it differently, i.e. Court Cash, Buzz Bucks, Magic Money. They call it different things. In the example on my phone on the right, we didn't get too creative, I guess. It's just called virtual currency, but where it says that virtual currency next to my balance is what it would say, however you want to brand it. And then once we know the name, we can turn that on. It's a configuration change that VenueNext does, which would obviously have to be coordinated with our support team or our sales operations team to get enabled. But to enable it does not require a release for neither for the web or for the SDK, and there's nothing that the integrator needs to do in the SDK app example. So that's how someone gets signed in. We'll go through how virtual currency can be awarded in a couple minutes, but first I'll just take you through the fan experience in their wallet. So when they're signed in, they would see what I'm showing here on the right on my phone. On the top, they can see their balance. We show their name, and then if they are in an affiliation, which we'll talk more about, the affiliation name would display here under their name. In this example, it's displayed as bronze. And then there's a few buttons, options that they have in their wallet. The first is shop. That will just take them to the list of revenue centers that everyone should already be familiar with. Orders will show them their order history, both active orders and completed orders. And then scan and pay, we'll get more into in a second, same with QR code. There's also the ability to transfer virtual currency over email. So you can enter in the amount, the recipient email, and a note for whoever you want to send a portion of your virtual currency to. If they already have an account on our system, they'll just be notified that I transferred Jacqueline. Jacqueline will be notified that I transferred her $10 in virtual currency. There's nothing she needs to do because she already has an account in the VenueNext platform, similar to the Venmo model. If Jacqueline didn't have an account already in our platform, she would get an email notification saying that she needs to create an account or sign in to accept it. And once she does sign in, that virtual currency balance would be automatically transferred to her. We also show the virtual currency activity. So this is where you would see how you spent your virtual currency, how you've earned your virtual currency, if you were refunded virtual currency. So there's many different ways you can see it. It's listed in chronological order, and the amount for each is shown there. Benefits and rewards. This section lists out all the different ways in which virtual currency can be earned. So we have a few examples here. Early entry bonus. So if you enter in early, you can earn to the game or the event, you can earn virtual currency. If we do spend thresholds, so if you spend 50, you get 5 back in virtual currency. If you purchase specific items in the mobile ordering flow, you can earn virtual currency. So there's a lot of different options here, and we'll step through how to configure these in Canopy. And then my information just shows your information, your email, your phone number, if it ever needs to be changed. This is what gets pulled from in our mobile ordering flow and the cart. When you have to enter in your name and email, it will always pull from what is in here. And then payments. This is where you can see your virtual currency balance, any saved credit cards. If you want virtual currency to be your default payment, you would toggle on this toggle like I have here. This way it is used by default. And then the last thing is the badge. So if you are in an affiliation, you can see this badge that shows your name, your account ID, and the affiliation name. And if you tap this, it actually changes color to prevent screenshots. This can be used to either be presented at some other point of sale, third-party point of sale, to have some discount applied, or to gain access to a certain area in the venue. So that is an overview of our wallet features. To continue with the fan experience, the guest experience, I'm going to show you how to pay with virtual currency. First, I will do is in our mobile ordering flow. So here I hit shop and brought to the list of revenue centers that everyone's familiar with. I'm going to select one here. Just going to select anything and add it to my cart. And now I can apply a tip if I want. And then on the bottom in the payment section, if virtual currency is enabled, and again, it would be branded however you want, we won't say virtual currency. Since that is my default payment, that is on, I do have enough of a balance to cover this purchase. If I didn't have enough of a virtual currency balance to cover this purchase, it would show me what that balance is, and then I would have to pay with a saved credit card that I have, or enter in a credit card or Apple Pay if on an iPhone. But in this case, I have enough, so I'm just hit order now, and then the order is completed, and it'll go through, and I'm on my receipt. And if I want to receive order status updates, I can opt into those text messages. So that is in the mobile ordering flow. When at a VenueNext point of sale, which is the left portion of my screen here, there is also the ability to pay with virtual currency using our rich checkout flow. So here on our point of sale, the venue operator, and this is a similar flow for our self-service kiosk as well, would enter in the items being ordered. and then they'll have the option to hit wallet, which will present a QR code displayed on the point of sale. This would typically be toggled to face the guest. The guest would hopefully already be signed in, either in web or the app. They'd go to their wallet and hit scan and pay, which would activate their device camera, and the guest would scan that QR code, and the point of sale or the kiosk would show us as scanned. And it's now a similar flow to what I just showed in the mobile ordering. Virtual currency is set as the default, and you hit order now to place your order, and then the point of sale shows that the order was completed. This will be if there was any bronze affiliation discounts that were set up, and I want to take advantage of them as well. It would be the same rich checkout flow with the QR code. There's also some points of sale, third-party point of sales that we support a virtual currency integration with. And in order to do that, it's basically reversed. The fan would go to the QR code pay, and they would present that third-party point of sale. This QR code, and the third-party point of sale would scan it, and through our integration, virtual currency would be deducted as a payment method for that order. So that is paying with virtual currency and rich checkout. I'm now going to switch over to Canopy to show you what some of this experience looks like in Canopy. So this is our example org for what I was just testing on. There is a loyalty section. It is not necessarily enabled for everyone, but it is if you are leveraging our loyalty virtual currency product. And the accounts lists out all of the accounts that have signed in, and you can see their balance, and you can search by email address. So here, this is the one that I was testing with using the account key I had signed in with Ticketmaster. You can click in the row to see some details about that fan, their balance, and the 5 most recent transactions. And you can either click view user details or account key to dive into more details, where you can see a complete transaction history. If for whatever reason you wanted to exclude a transaction from the fan's virtual currency activity in their wallet, you could check this, and that won't be shown to them. But on the general page is where you can go in and either award or deduct virtual currency. So if you wanted to give 5 more virtual currency, you can do so and put in a comment, whatever you want it to say. If you did want to, again, exclude it from the virtual currency activity in the wallet, you can check that box, and then you go forward and hit award, and then the virtual currency would be issued to the fan. And as you can see here, my balance has updated. And then it's pretty much the same flow for deduct. You're obviously deducting virtual currency in that scenario. So that's how you can do like one-off awards to a customer. You can also award in bulk through the batch adjustment CSV. So here you would just essentially create your own CSV with a few columns, either 4 or 5 columns, and you would just paste that in as text, comma separated text, and hit batch award, and it would be awarded. The columns here that you have to enter, which we do not need the headers when pasting it in, they just have to be in this order, are the account ID, the amount can be, obviously, 5 if you want to award 5, or minus 10 if you want to deduct 10, a description, and then hidden. Hidden, that is the checkbox that I was describing before. If you want that to be hidden, you would enter true. If you don't, enter false. You can leave it blank. Instance can be left blank. This instance is only used by customers that have multiple VenueNext instances. So maybe they have several teams that play at the same venue, and we've set up one org in Canopy with multiple VenueNext instances, i.e. team A.VenueNext.com, team B.VenueNext.com, and the venue or the organization want the virtual currency to be separate for each of those teams. That is when this is used, if again, it's wanted to be separate. If you wanted to award virtual currency to a 2-3, for instance, team A, you would enter team A into this column. And you would not enter the entire URL, just the instance name in that example. We don't have a lot of customers using that, so most should be leaving that instance column blank when doing the bulk award. If you are one of the customers using the instance, you probably know that. You certainly should, I would hope so. And you probably have already been told about this instance column. So if you're unsure, if you fall into that category, reach out to our support team and we'll get that clarified. If you aren't using the instance concept and would want to, again, reach out to our support team or your sales contact, and we can get that configured, since there's additional configurations we would need to do in order to enable that. We also do support an API that can be used to bulk award or virtual currency to customers. It follows a similar structure, accepts the same columns or same fields shown here. We would obviously need to set you up with keys and provide the documentation. But again, if that's something you are interested in, reach out to our support team and we can get that, get you access to that API. So that is virtual currency managing accounts. I had mentioned before on the benefits and rewards screen, there's different automatic ways that virtual currency can be awarded. I'll show you how this screen gets configured and how you can enable that automation. That is done in the rewards section. So these are all the active and inactive rewards that are currently set up. I'll show you how to create a new one. You would obviously hit add reward, give it a name. We'll call it early arrival bonus. And then you hit create. You can have this reward rule run for a specific time period. So you can enter that in if you want it to go all season or maybe just a month or day, whatever you want it to be. Select your time zone. And then there's a few different types. So the first one is ticket scan. And then within that, there's a few categories. So early, so you can have this be relative to the event start time. So on the bottom, there's these offsets. So maximum number of minutes before the event start to start the award, and then the minimum number of minutes before the event start time to start the award. So this is all relative to the events page, which I'll loop back to once we're done here. Show you how to configure that. So if the event were to start at 7 and you wanted anyone that enters before 6 o'clock to earn virtual currency, you'd enter 60 here. And then whatever time the gates open is probably when you'd want the offset start to be. I'll leave it at 150. And again, this is minutes that you're entering in here. The push notifications function has been deprecated, so this can be ignored. It's a legacy feature. So that is how you enter the early scan rule. Then you can enter in a description. This description would be shown in the app when the user taps learn more. That text would be shown there. And then you can enter in the virtual currency. If you want to award them with virtual currency or a marketplace experience, you can do either. If virtual currency, you can enter the amount, any bonus, and then upload an icon, which would be shown in the web or app on the left here with that icon. You go ahead and create it. That is early scan. Early scan does require events to be set up. So in the events section, you have to go to events and then enter, upload the events that you want to use this for. There's not a ton of information that is needed about the events. There's a lot of fields on here, most of which are no longer used and have been deprecated. But you would need to enter event name, date, and time. And then most of this can be ignored with the exception of ticketing provider and the ticketing provider event ID. So we support these attendance rewards with Ticketmaster and Veritix, i.e., aka Access. For either of them, you just select the appropriate provider and enter in their event ID. It's required for integration with them. And then this event start time would be used in those offset calculations that I was showing. So that's early scan. We also have consecutive scanning. This is if you attend X number of events in a certain time period, you can be awarded virtual currency or marketplace experience. And then you can see here the reward rules inputs change. So the first input is the cycles, so the number of scans required to get the reward. So maybe 5, that's i.e. 5 events. If you attend 5 events, you get the award. You could do, and then maximum awards. So if you only want them to get it once, or for the, for that 5th event, not the 10th or the 15th, you can enter 1 in here, or for every 5, you can just select unlimited. And again, this would run for the time period mentioned above. And then the last is just a regular scan. If you just scan using the mobile ticketing, you can earn virtual currency or awarded marketplace experience. So those are the 3 types of mobile ticket scans we offer. I'm going to jump ahead to purchase cashback. And there's 2 types we support here. The first is in-app purchase. So if this was the example shown before, where if you spend 50, you earn 5. So here you would enter in 5 and then 50 as the threshold. So for every 50 that is spent either with virtual currency or credit card, the fan would earn $5 in virtual currency. We also support specific items. That is the Papa John's example that I mentioned before. So if you can search for these items using the reward rules section here. So if the fan purchases any of those items, they'll be awarded whatever amount is entered into the amount field for virtual currency. And then those are 2 types of purchase cash back. And then there's 3 in here. Offline, this is essentially nothing that's going to be automated. You just want to show something in the ways to earn section just so the fan is informed about it. The perfect example is at the bottom here. Maybe it's not. Oops, sorry. An example of that would be, you earn virtual currency at the beginning of the season, and that is done through a API or the CSV upload. It's just informational, and nothing will be automated as a part of that offline one. Just a way to get something into ways to earn. And then preferred credit card. This is if you save a preferred credit card, you can earn virtual currency for doing that. You would just get it once. The fan wouldn't get it every time they save a preferred credit card. And then you can upload the BIN numbers of those preferred credit cards in order to issue that. And then the last is profile. This has been deprecated, so profile will not work. That is a legacy feature with our legacy apps. So that is how these automated awards can be done, and how virtual currency can be managed. And obviously in the list page here, you would see all of them, and you can update them as needed. Once they become inactive, so the end time has been reached, there's no way to re-enable them. You would have to create a new one. So just be conscious of that when defining your end time. So that is the virtual currency component. I did mention that we do offer affiliations or segments that can be used for discounts or marketplace exclusivity. We leverage that through our integrations with Ticketmaster and Access. Those are 2 we support. So in Ticketmaster, if you're in an account group, we will know that through our integration with Ticketmaster, and then we can map that, and then you can go into Canopy and actually up a discount. And then it's a similar model for Access. If your account has a custom field and you tell us the name you put in that custom field, we can map that to a discount. I won't necessarily go through all the different types of discounts right now that can be done. There's a lot that can be done, but the first step would actually be providing VenueNext with there's this training article of everything that does need to be provided. So for Ticketmaster, the account group ID, what you want to be shown as, the primary hex color, secondary hex color for the badge, and then the rank. So you have to prioritize the account groups in the scenario where if a fan did end up in 2 of these account groups, we would pick the highest ranking one for what discounts get applied and what badge to show for them. And it's similar for access. We actually do support this with tickets.com. Using a similar concept with patron traits that also live on the account. So once we're told this information, we then map that on our side, and then you will see these affiliation options in here, so that when you do go to create or edit a discount, you will see those affiliations. So you go to specific affiliations, and then you would select bronze and hit add. And then this discount would only be applied for fans that are in that bronze affiliation or account group if Ticketmaster is being used. Yeah, so then discounts can be applied to that. It's a similar concept for the marketplace. Again, it would follow the same steps. And then when you set up the marketplace experience, you would be able to select the affiliation. So in the sale and the group, you would go to tiered exclusive, and then make sure you add this metadata. And then you'd be able to select the affiliations that have been set up, and then hit update. And only users, guests in those affiliations would be able to purchase the experience. Everyone will be able to see it, but you have to be in one of those affiliations to purchase it. So that's how we leverage discounts and exclusivity. And then the last component that I will show is how this gets reflected in reporting. So in data now, there is a wallets account tab where you can see some information. Once I get reconnected there, you can see some information about virtual currency and awards. So we show first is the outstanding virtual currency. So what's the sum of everyone's balance essentially in your organization, just so you have an understanding of what your outstanding liability is. We show the average account balance, which only takes into accounts that have a greater than 0 balance. You can see how many do have a 0 balance, how many have greater than 0 balance. You can see any transfers in the transfer date filter here that's shown. And you can see any automatic awards that have been issued, again, in that filter date range. And then there's just a quick preview of any active award rules that are just configured. So you can see that at a glance. And then you can always drill into these to see what accounts comprise, in this case, the accounts with a greater than 0 balance. So you can see all that, you can download it, etc. There's obviously a lot of different things you can do in data now. And I think we had a separate training or webinar on that. You could also set up alerts. If you wanted to know when the outstanding virtual currency is over 500,000, you can set up an alert to trigger that. And obviously all the scheduling functionality exists as well. We also do, if you have access, we have exports for this, which just gives us the raw data. So you can get all of the accounts and their balances, any transfers, any awards, and just any activity. This is probably the lowest level one. Any virtual currency activity across all these accounts, you would show up in here. And again, the wallet exports, not everyone has access to that. You need to be permissioned to have export access in order to get that, since this is typically used to export the raw data and put it into a customer's data warehouse. That is all. I will stop sharing and see if you have any questions, feel free to put them into the Q&A. And we have Jacqueline on from our support team. Jacqueline, I don't know if there's anything you wanted to add or wanted me to elaborate on.
No, everything you talked about is 100% what we normally go over in loyalty training, and then some. Like Eddie said, if you guys have any questions at all, please do not hesitate to ask them in the Q&A section. If you want to discuss property specific questions too, you can always reach out to us at help@VenueNext.com, or you can shoot an email to your account managers too.